Welcome to another episode of Anti Moonboy News. We got a stacked one for you today. Tons of stuff going on between the inauguration, Trumpbucks, etc. So we'll get to all of that. We also have some awards I'm giving out for the past year. The first annual Anti Moonboy News Awards. I spent about 1 minute doing my research on this, but we're giving out 5 awards, so that'll be fun, and that'll be at the end of the episode. But first, we got to look at our super chats. So the first super chat is a shout out to a supporter who goes by the name Sojourner. He is on Twitter. He didn't really give me much to talk about, but he gave a massive donation. So I'm going to talk about the word sojourn, which is a weird word. It's one of those words you look at, and it just looks wrong. I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But sojourn is when you stay temporarily somewhere, right? So I'm going to put the question out, where do you like to sojourn? I guess I like to sojourn at places with not a lot of people or places where there's music. I guess those would be my 2 picks. The last place I would like to sojourn at is a beach that's crowded. That sounds horrible. I'm not a beach guy anyways, but I wouldn't like that. I would say a mountain would be nice. Something on a mountain would be very comfy. Or if I'm especially if I'm in Europe or somewhere where there's a thriving electric scene, I would like to go to some nightclub and see some techno. That'd be really cool. Or maybe some local punk bands or something. That's what I would be doing if I were to sojourn somewhere. So anyways, thank you for your support, my friend. Anyways, we got 2 donations this week. The first one from Fiat Demise. He donates 0.014555957 XMR. Thank you very much for that. He writes, looking forward to your Darknet series. It's really hard to find the method of payment demanded by ransomware attackers and news stories. Well, I'm really excited that you're looking forward to the series because I'm really excited to make it. It is something that I'm really looking forward to because there isn't really a series out there that covers cryptocurrency and darknet markets, right? So it's kind of uncharted territory, and I think there's a lot of things to talk about. And you bring up a great point here about ransomware attacks. The news stories generally don't talk about this. I've noticed they usually just say cryptocurrency, or they won't even show the demand. And I think there is somewhat of a, essentially a ban on reporting what ransomware attackers are asking for in the media, at least compared to what it was previously. I think the feds have kind of reached out to journalists and said, hey, we don't want you putting this information out there, kind of thing. Also, generally, the feds also tell businesses not to pay, essentially. So I am going to be looking into the major ransomware attackers and what they're asking for. Generally speaking, it's either Bitcoin or Monero. Usually they ask for either of them, with Monero at a discount. However, another hurdle that we have here is we don't know how they're being paid, because that's done in an encrypted chat, right? So there's not really a website I can point to that has all these payments. They're definitely not being reported by the media, so it's a little tricky. However, we will work with the information that we can find. Okay, so I like that comment a lot. Now we have another donation here from Monero from Republic of Georgia. He donates 0.0475748 XMR. He writes, I'm a dev, not a cryptographer though, or front-end dev. More like a desktop app developer, CLI, etc. What tooling you think the Monero ecosystem needs? I would spend some time productively. Well, thank you very much for that generous donation. Speaking of the Republic of Georgia, how about that Merab? I don't know if you watch UFC, but the current bantamweight champion, Merab Devashvili, am I pronouncing that right? Anyway, he fought last weekend and he crushed. So that makes 2 UFC champions with Georgian blood. Merab and Topuria is the other one. He's half Georgian. So I don't know what they're feeding you guys over there. Like, you guys are eating horse meat or something? I don't know. Anyway, to answer your question, yeah, what I would recommend is to lurk the IRC chats, the dev Monero IRC, the research lab, just the general Monero IRC, and lurk, and that's how you can kind of read about how the community is doing things. I would also check out the MoneroCon and Monerotopia lineups for the different projects in Monero to see, maybe some things that might catch your eye. I would say generally the main thing that is getting a lot of attention is services in which you can get Monero, especially getting Monero non-KYC. So I would say Haveno Redo, Unstoppable Swap, Sarai would be a good one to look into. Any sort of like really easy to use application to get Monero is something that's definitely needed. So yeah, I would say that, and just read a bunch of chat logs and kind of put your ear to the ground and like see what other people are saying. All right, so now let's get to the news, and we are starting off talking all about Trump. There's a lot of ground to cover here. And of course, we have Trump coin. This was launched a couple days ago, and it's hilarious. And everyone's freaking out. And all the ones who've been paying attention are not surprised, right? Trump coin, it is a reflection of what cryptocurrency is today. This is how people view cryptocurrency. It is a pump and dump scheme. It is number go up. It is people trying to get rich. This is how people view cryptocurrency. Just ask a random person about crypto. They're not talking about digital cash. They're talking about number go up. And that's across the board. Depending on whatever demographic you're talking to, that's going to be the answer. Seeing Trump coin created, really not that surprising. In fact, if you had told me before that Trump coin was being created, I would have said, yeah, that sounds about right, because that does sound about right. I will say Melania coin, that one was a little surprising to me. But yeah, Trump coin, not surprising at all. So yeah, Trump coin was launched a couple days before the inauguration, which was yesterday as of this recording. And yeah, I did actually watch the inauguration yesterday. Yeah, I was like reading a book, and I was like, you know what? I'll throw it on, whatever, right? So I threw it on. First thing I noticed is all the people like there, right? You have like behind Trump, the people that are like important, basically is what they're saying. And it's all tech companies, like all the major tech guys. Of course, Elon's there, but then you had Zuck was there, right? You had Bezos, the guy from Google who's Indian, I don't know his name, and I think Tim Cook was there too, right? So you had all the tech guys there, and this is very concerning to me. This switch happened really over the course of like several months. They all bandwagoned behind Trump, and that to me is a signal that censorship is really going to be coming strong here. Because if they're all supporting Trump, that means they've chosen their guy, essentially. Nick Fuentes actually had a really good quote that I want to share. He said, politics is no longer about ideology, but about technology. I think that's very true, because what has been figured out is that if you control the flow of information, you control the people. And that flow of information is dictated by social media. So essentially, social media is what really is controlling this country right now, because it's so easy to manipulate people. I've noticed this personally with how people talk about Trump. It's a lot more positive than it used to be. And I don't think that's just people like, coming around to like liking Trump. I think it's actually just by the media not being as crazy with him. I mean, they are still like exaggerating that he's like basically Hitler. Like, I mean, that's never going to go away. But there's just this shift that I've noticed. And a lot of that is because in general, these social media guys have like really stepped back after like, during the coronavirus, doing all this unconstitutional bullshit to push their beliefs on the people. You had this guy Zuckerberg go on Joe Rogan. Talk about a fucking tool this guy is. He is so fake. It's insane that people think. Does anyone think he's being serious? Like, if anything, everybody that I've talked to about this thinks that he's being fake. So I don't know why he's even trying to do this. But he went on Rogan and, he's trying to rehabilitate his image. And looks like Bezos is also rehabilitating his image with his big booba Latina girl who's like 80 years old. You know, you could date younger than that. You know that, right, Bezos? Yeah, anyway. And really just to expand on this, like censorship and control of software and the flow of information, it's going to get worse, right? It's not going to get better. So with all these oligarchs here behind Trump, it's definitely giving me pause because something ain't right? So anyway, Trump did his speech. It was more of like a rally, to be honest. He didn't really say anything new. And what also he didn't talk about was Bitcoin. Trump did not mention Bitcoin a single time, which is going to be a trend that we're going to be talking about today. He did not mention Bitcoin. In fact, he didn't mention any type of cryptocurrency. So really, instead, what Trump did is I don't think he did anything, but his team made this total shitcoin. And this is like supposed to make everybody feel like the government is embracing cryptocurrency. When in fact, really all the government doing is putting a mirror out and saying, hey, this is what cryptocurrency looks like. Shitcoins and meme coins. This is all people care about, right? Making money. And that is what we saw. With Trump coin, an atrocious distribution, total pump and dump. It's on Solana, which is terrible. This is what cryptocurrency is today. I'm looking at this thinking, well, it's not too surprising, right? I don't know if people remember, was it a year ago, Trump launched NFTs and never talked about it again? Kind of have a feeling this is going to be similar, right? Launch a project, never talk about it again. He probably has no idea what this even is. In fact, he might not even be aware this even exists. I wouldn't even be surprised. I have a tweet here from Body Anarchist. He says, I know everyone is pissed at Trump and Melania coins, but I 100% support this. This is what crypto is, what it has become. It highlights the number go up degeneracy of maxi cult and shitcoin degenerates alike. Ironically, among the most honest parties in all this are the meme coiners. Love this tweet. And he's right. Meme coins, at least they embrace the fact that they're total garbage. At least they embrace the fact that they're just trying to get rich. You might be thinking I'm being hypocritical here by saying this, me having Anti Moonboy news. But genuinely, at least they're being honest about, supporting trash, right? They're not larping, okay? Because this is what I see generally from Bitcoiners is this LARP, right? This pretending to care, but then showing that they don't actually care. Now, as an example of this, there is a crypto influencer who goes by the name Crypto T. She is a Moonboy. Pretty much all she does on her timeline is tweet about the price of Bitcoin, number go up, typical stuff, right? Anyways, she has this tweet here that I saw the other day, which I thought was quite interesting. It says, Trump's meme coin is valued at $70 billion. Monero is $3 billion. I'm starting to think people enjoy being slaves. That's what she wrote. Her valuations there are off, but it doesn't really matter. What she's essentially saying is, people are they're just going after Trump meme coin, and a good project like Monero, no one cares about it, right? Now, I could care less about what Monero is valued at or what Trump coin is valued at. But the hypocrisy here is that this Moonboy here, Crypto T, if you go on her timeline, you'll see all she does is talk about the price of cryptocurrency and crypto going to 1 million and I missed out, all that stuff. And then you see a tweet like this and she's talking about, people, why are these projects like Trump coin getting all this money where a good old, an honest project like Monero doesn't, right? And it's is she just not self-aware? Probably, right? You not realize what's going on here? And the thing is, it's not just her, okay? It's all of Bitcoin is like this, where they LARP as these cypherpunks. But then they project all number go up. So this is what I'm saying, where Trump coin, it's really not that surprising. Like, it's just the exact same thing that Bitcoiners have been doing now for the past decade. It's just a different meme, right? Instead of the Bitcoin meme, it's the Trump meme. Number go up. There's only 1 billion Trumps. I don't even know the tokenomics. Who cares, right? There's only 1 billion Trumps, and number go up. Everyone buy Trump right now, right? And that's it. It's completely ridiculous. Bitcoin needs to have a hard look at itself. You know, you had Michael Saylor on New Year's larping as Gatsby. Did you guys see that? You know, he's at his home, like, oh yeah, come into my my very extravagant dining room. Look at all this china that I bought, all these rich paintings or whatever. What a fucking clown. And everyone's like posting images of themselves there. It's just disgusting. You have these conferences too. You know, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin conference. It's literally just a bunch of banks and people who like banks there. They have no understanding of what got us here in the first place. Now, I like the fact that you have a lot of Bitcoiners starting to speak up about this. I have noticed this. There are some people out there who are saying, "Hey, we gotta start improving here." I think the damage is done. I think Bitcoin at this point is completely compromised, and it's pretty black-pilled. But that's what I'm seeing, because someone like Michael Saylor should have never been taken seriously in the first place. I want you though to ask yourself this though, right? For the people out there who are supportive of Ross being released, if I gave you the option of, okay, either one of these two things will happen, Ross getting released or the United States government announcing a Bitcoin strategic reserve, which one would you pick? And that right there is the divide right now between the two camps that are in cryptocurrency. And one, unfortunately, is a lot bigger than the other, because the majority of people in crypto right now, they just want to get rich. And they're going to look at Ross and say, hey, you know what? Whatever. Let's pump our bags. And that's the sad reality right now. So yeah, this leads me to the strategic reserve that, again, this is developing news, doesn't exist yet. Hilarious. I've basically predicted this. It's nowhere to be seen. In fact, actually, a couple of days ago, it was leaked that the United States government might be looking into having an all-encompassing digital assets bill, essentially, where it wouldn't just be about Bitcoin. That didn't even happen, for what it's worth. There was also $100 million in crypto tokens purchased by World Liberty Financial, which is a decentralized finance platform with ties to Trump. And they bought a bunch of different shit. Let's see here. What did they buy? Yeah, they bought Athena, Wrapped Tron, Chainlink, Aave. I don't know what that is. And Uniswap. I don't know. Anyway, they bought like stuff, but it was just a lot of garbage. Wasn't really cryptocurrency. It was just these shitcoin scams. That is essentially what we got. We got that and Trumpbucks. Someone do a welfare check on our boy Dennis Porter right now. Now, speaking of Dennis Porter, he posted on his Twitter of another successful strategic Bitcoin reserve passed, this time in the state of Utah. So I pulled it up, and wouldn't you know it, it doesn't even mention Bitcoin. And this is not the first time this has happened, where it's just a generalized digital assets, amendment essentially proposed. It's not even about Bitcoin specifically. But the thing is, he's saying, oh, it's a Bitcoin strategic reserve. But it's not. It's literally a digital assets investment thing. It's not a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And so essentially what he's doing is he's saying any cryptocurrency adjacent bill that passes is a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Now that is next level cope, if I've ever seen it before. You keep hearing about Senator Loomis and her bill that's, going to change the game. It's like, that thing is dead on arrival. There's absolutely no way the government is going to be spending billions of dollars every month buying Bitcoin. It's a farce. And it's no surprise, too, then, that in these early days that we are not hearing anything about this from the Trump administration. Suddenly, it's all quiet on Bitcoin. And instead, they are just buying shit coins and promoting shit coins and meme coins, right? And speaking of that, too, the Trump coin stuff is going to be a lightning rod of criticism. I mean, all the Democrats are going to just say, look at this. This is exactly what's going to happen without regulations. And to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to defend. All right. I don't know what they're going to say. Like, well, it's not a scam. Well, why do you have 88% of the supply already? Right. It's impossible to defend. It may even be a Trojan horse for regulations, if you think of it that way. I guess the last thing I'll leave off with this, Bitcoin strategic reserve stuff is that, it's kind of ironic that Bitcoin, it's looked at by people who are getting into cryptocurrency as this dinosaur. You're not getting that return like you're getting with these new meme coins and these new, smart contract platforms or whatever. It's not exciting to them. And it reminds me of how Bitcoiners view gold, right? It's like they're looking at gold, oh, it's so boring, it never really goes up. Well, we're starting to get to a time where Bitcoin is starting to get boring. It's starting to kind of get to that point where the diminishing returns it's starting to become more and more obvious. So what's going to happen after that where, if we have another bull run that is disappointing, where are these Moonboys going to go? Are they going to stick around? Are they going to triple down? Because then that would be 2 consecutive bull runs that were disappointing. So, I mean, yeah, I think the best thing for Bitcoin going forward is for the price to become more stable. Because then the Moonboys will go away. Or at least they'll become a lot less, obnoxious. And we can actually start to improve Bitcoin. But if people continue to have this number go up mindset, that's just going to permeate through the rest of cryptocurrency. And that's what we're seeing right now. All right, enough about Trump. Let's get to some other news here. We're going to start off talking about the launch or the announcement of the Onchain reputation API service from Coinbase. The tweet reads, unlock powerful insights into Onchain addresses with scores ranging from -100 to +100, plus detailed metadata. Positive scores reflect strong on-chain activity, like what you see at onchainscore.xyz, while negative scores flag potential risks using on-chain and Coinbase data. Here's what you can do with the on-chain reputation. Evaluate transaction trustworthiness with ease, personalized experience based on users' crypto activity, gamify and reward on-chain engagement, and so much more. What a crock of shit that is. Ugh. Yeah. So, as has been talked about, this is where we're heading. We're gonna have KYC in everything. That is what they want. And so it is up to us to fight back against this by supporting free open source software projects that don't do this, that are fighting against this. And, somewhere along the way, Bitcoin just stopped fighting back. And I understand there are trade-offs to building privacy on-chain for Bitcoin, but, this is the result. People kind of neglected to think that governments might start to push back. And that's why we have Monero, right? So, looking at this, not surprising at all. I expect more and more things like this in the future. And really the end game here is custodial only, wallets that are approved by the government, and this credit score bullshit that they're going to have on everything. Oh, but we're about to get even worse, because here we have a fascinating article about OFAC filtering. Now, OFAC in the past has announced certain unspent transaction outputs that are sanctioned, or at least they're coming from some sort of sanctioned Bitcoin address. And so that these are transactions that can't be moved. And so it looks like recently a developer figured out that there were OFAC sanctioned transactions that were missing from blocks, and that it is likely that they were removed by the miner that solved the block. And the conclusion here is that the pool F2 pool was the one that might have been filtering these transactions. This is the beginning of this, and this goes really well with the on-chain reputation BS that we just talked about. Let's just look 20 years in the future, right? If Bitcoin doesn't improve, which I'm guessing it won't, you're going to have these databases that have all this on-chain information about this person, linking them to their KYC identity, and they will be able to filter people, or at least filter transactions from those people, just by looking at the blockchain. This is not some weird fantasy. It's already happening. The problem here is if the hash rate, the majority hash rate, which is providing that protection for Bitcoin, if they endorse these sanctions, the Bitcoin's going to go along with that. And to go against that, you would essentially be going against number go up. And this is how they're going to trap people into supporting these sanctions. They're going to say, oh, so you support that terrorist over in Syria? What's wrong with you? And the normie who's buying Bitcoin to get rich, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, oh, no, I don't support that terrorist. I want number go up. Yes, green dildo. That's what I like. That's what they're going to say. Okay? Now, Monero news, Retoswap announced this week that you can trade up to 1.5 Monero without actually needing Monero up front. So this was one of the critiques of Retoswap, where you had to provide essentially a security deposit. That's no longer needed for trades up to 1.5 Monero. And that is already live. So really great to see. If you haven't used Retoswap, definitely recommend it. It is becoming really the go-to platform for non-KYC methods. And hopefully we see more usage on it in the future and usage on platforms like it going forward. The IP address of Drughub, a well-known dark web marketplace, has been exposed. This was published by Evil Rabbit Security, and there's a whole write-up here. I'm not going to go through this, as this episode is already way too freaking long, but basically they may have accidentally doxed themselves. Now, Drughub is interesting because they are related actually to the administrative team of White House Market. So will be interesting to see maybe if these guys get pinched, that maybe someone will be able to provide information about the character of Mr. White, who's been at large since the closure of White House Market. Obviously, feds are still looking for him, as well as any person running a darknet market. But this is another chapter in the crazy world of darknet markets and OPSEC. Now, this is a good one. Chainalysis, which is the largest blockchain surveillance company, released an update on a report they had published last year. And it says, note that in last year's report, we published that the government of North Korea stole $1 billion across 20 hacks. Upon further investigation, we determined that certain large hacks we had previously attributed to North Korea are no longer related, hence the decrease to $660 million. However, the number of incidents remains the same as we identified from other smaller hacks. We aim to constantly reevaluate our assessment of North Korean-linked hacking events as we acquire new on-chain and off-chain evidence. Yeah, I mean, no words here, right? These guys are throwing people into jail, saying that their techniques are sound and they are, trustworthy. And here they're off by $500 million, nearly. So last thing to talk about today, we had a de-anonymization attack that was disclosed today by an alleged 15-year-old high school junior. His name is Daniel. I have his GitHub here. I'm not sure if I buy that he's 15, because this is actually a pretty impressive find. But if he is, then I don't know what these kids are doing these days, but this is pretty cool stuff. You can send somebody an image on something like Discord, and that image is stored in Cloudflare's cache, right? And that cache is stored based on your region. And essentially, you can do some stuff and figure out roughly where a person is in the world, depending on how the cache stores the thing that you send them. So TechLore has a Twitter thread here. I'm going to quickly read this because it provides a good summary of what it was found here. It says, first, this issue exploited Cloudflare's CDN. An attacker only needs to send an image in order to obtain a very coarse location based on delivery timing of the message. This requires no involvement from the victim, so it's 0 click. Cloudflare has since fixed the issue. This is debatable. The GitHub says they haven't really fixed it, but regardless, TechLore then writes, our thoughts, we've seen similar timing attacks performed on end-to-end encrypted messengers. While it's something for high threat models to consider, it's extremely targeted threat most needed worry about. If you're concerned, use a VPN or you can use Tor. It doesn't really provide an exact location, but it is something that's pretty interesting nonetheless. And it's the first time I've ever heard of this type of vulnerability with like cache storage. Pretty cool stuff. Before I end today, we're going to now do our Anti Moonboy awards. This is for the past year. We have 5 awards to give out. The Pump and Dump of the Year, the Best Journalism of the Year, Cyperpunk of the Year, Story of the Year, and the coveted Moonboy of the Year. So to begin, Pump and Dump of the Year. Well, this is kind of boring, but Trump coin. I mean, technically this was supposed to be for 2024, but screw it. I'm giving it to Trump coin. This is, I've already talked about this today, but I'm loving it to watch this, just make a lot of people salty, even though it's, essentially showing you what cryptocurrency is today. It's just performance art, in my opinion. So congratulations to Donald Trump. For Best Journalist, we're going to go with The Rage. I've been basically talking about The Rage every week that I've been doing this show. If there's other crypto journalists like The Rage, please let me know, because they've been doing a stellar job, talking about, really the court cases that are ongoing. They've done a really great job covering all the court battles that are ongoing and, providing a really critical eye of that. When you read it through one of the cryptocurrency, mainstream sites, it's not as pointed and critical of the government. And The Rage is doing a really great job of summarizing that from the Cypherpunk point of view. For Cypherpunk of the Year, gotta give it to Luke Parker, who is absolutely killing it right now with full chain membership proofs and Sarai incoming. Really, nothing more to be said. I think everyone in Monero and in the realm of digital cash will agree with something like this. Luke Parker, thank you so much for all your work. It's so greatly appreciated. Story of the Year. I'm giving this to the arrest of Samurai Wallet and TDev. This happened back in April, and we are still feeling the ramifications of this today. Without going into too much detail, this was a game changer, and immediately it shifted everything. I remember somebody at the time said this was one of the before and after events in cryptocurrency. I really firmly believe that. The charges are absolutely asinine, and all you can do is hope that we win the battle in court. But it really is showing the government's hand. And apparently we have a better administration now. I'm highly skeptical of that. If they want to be seen as a more open administration, these cases would be tossed out immediately, because I don't even know how they're constitutional, to be honest with you. Now, I could have given this Story of the Year to Tornado Cash and Bitcoin Fog, but Samurai Wallet is just a step above, just because of how much these guys worked for digital cash specifically, how much they meant to Monero, and it's just a terrible situation. All right, we have one more award, which is the Moonboy of the Year, and looks like somebody inserted another award before that, the Robot of the Year. I wonder who put this here while I wasn't looking.
Beep boop. It wasn't me. Beep boop.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I got to give it to you, Robot. Congratulations.
Beep boop. Hooray! Beep boop.
Yeah. Good job there, buddy. Anyway, there we go. Okay, now we're at Moonboy of the Year, the coveted prize for the biggest piece of shit in cryptocurrency today. Drum roll, please. It came down to the wire, but we're giving it to our boy, Dennis Porter. Congratulations, Moonboy of the Year. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, this entire year, Michael Saylor was in the lead, but just bit by bit, Dennis Porter has been climbing up the leaderboard, and I had to give it to him. I just had to, like, you gotta respect him. You know, Michael Saylor, it's too obvious, right? But Dennis Porter, a Cinderella story, if you will. Here's what I'll say about this guy. I hope that I outlive him so I can piss on his grave, okay? He's a complete piece of shit. Everything wrong with cryptocurrency comes out of his rat fuck face mouth. He sucks. I hate him. And every time I see one of his tweets, I cringe. Here's the good news. He's gonna eat shit this year because all of his huge breaking tweets, they're all amounting to nothing, and he's gonna look stupid. So here's to you, our good boy, Mr. Porter. You're the moon boy of 2024. Congratulations. So anyways, that's the episode this week. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time. And as always, if you like the content, please donate. Thank you.